Hello and welcome to Tide of the Evening, a presentation. I will be down here. Tide of the Evening, a song. What's it about? By me, Alice, the one who wrote it. Now, I want to be something else. I want to spend my time different. That's how the song opens. What a yearning song. This is a song, truly, it is of yearning. Now, it speaks to myriad thoughts that I have, some normal, some mentally ill. But if we start with the opening line of I want to be something else, we're setting up the yearn. Now, I was turning over in my mind how often and what a sad feeling it is that I'm like, "Oh, sometimes I wish I wasn't asexual." That's not nice. Life may be simpler without dating, but it's also not simpler without dating. And the idea of wanting to be something else, I think, is quite a universal feeling. And that's isn't that a shame? Isn't that a sad thing? But it's usually about people's bodies, it's about people's attitudes. I certainly know that people with autism or ADHD or anything that affects the way you operate in this world socially, you find yourself wishing that. I think as well, if you have any disability, you just wish that your body were healthy. That's normal, that's natural, it's so common. And wanting to spend your time different. Now, that's a deliberate grammar choice. I know it's incorrect. In fact, when I first wrote it, I thought, huh, my sister's not going to like that. I don't know if she likes it or not, but it creates a more casual delivery. It's just like a throwaway. I want to spend my time different. And that's something that's quite common for creative people to feel. In my experience, if I spend my time working for money, I'm depressed, I'm not pursuing my passion. And yet, if I'm pursuing my passion and making things like this whack presentation, like I could have earned money today. I'm just sat there thinking, like, no matter what I do, it's a mistake. And I think that's really really common for people in a creative industry or people who are putting a lot of time and effort into a creative project where people are like, why are you spending your time doing this if it's not earning you money? And again, isn't it sad that we're made to feel that way? But again, classic creative person dilemma. So then we continue into I want to change the shape my life has carved into me, and I don't want to feel like I've missed it. Now, that's partly on some of the very necessary surgeries that I've had because of my cleft lip and palate. Like, I have literally carved myself with the NHS's help into a very different shape. I've had both of my jaws broken and affixed to where they should be. I've had a septorhinoplasty and I've had marrow taken from my hip bone, put into the roof of my mouth. And also, as you grow up, there's puberty literally changes your shape. And that obviously is a real hot ticket issue, one of the main kind of issues of body dysmorphia among the trans community. I feel quite disconnected at times from my body. I think that's also quite a usual experience. Now, I also actually skipped over this point, which is it's also partly on diet culture and what it's like to be raised in diet culture with a feminine body and always think I'm the wrong shape. I should be a different shape. That's not good. That's not a good thing. Now, I have this image that we as bodies are like sandstone blocks and our experiences and therefore the beliefs that we form from that then create us into our personhood. I don't think that's a unique opinion. Like, yeah, in fact, we are shaped by our experiences. But I think of this quite literally in the same way that, your experience of a traffic accident may leave you with a scar and that has permanently altered your shape. My experiences of being born with a cleft lip and palate, I then had these surgeries, I permanently altered my shape. Now going on to I don't want to feel like I've missed it. The feeling of like missing out on your own life, like do you remember the lockdown? We just had to sit and take a time out. And a lot of people managed to build a crazy amount of momentum in that time. And some of us were just like, guess I'll be at home. I'm not social media savvy. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying my best, but I was not using that lockdown time to go viral because at that point, my focus was on live music. And my job at the time, I had to physically go to the place to do my job. Like, emailing doesn't help restore antique frames. But on the other hand, what's the point of regretting? Because I could have sat there and got buff, and I didn't get buff, and I'm never going to get buff. You know, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. It's like the best time is now. But this song is very much sitting in the mood of forgetting the second half of that phrase. It's melancholic, you know? Now, I'm terrified of more time. I don't want to watch it leave me. But if I'm bored, I'll just die. Bored of playing fair, bored of cheating. Now, this verse, you know, hating aging, being terrified of death, but on the face of the morbs, wrote this about what women fear about turning 30. And that's like the classic things in the experience of, should I have actually married that guy? Was he the right guy? Should I have just made more of a compromise? Like, would I have had kids with him by now? Would we have worked things out? Or if not, should I have had children by now anyway? And maybe I'd be divorcing him, but I really want to have children. And should I have had children 5 years ago? Should I have done all of this 5 years ago? But why didn't that happen for me? Etc. Now, this is something I jokingly said to my sister. I was like, it feels like if you get bored, you'll just perish on the spot. She was like, yeah, I will. You know, that's no shade. She's not very good at being bored. She's immediately needs stimulation, needs things to do. Again, normal behavior. She's high energy. She's incredible. She got me these earrings. She got me my chandeliers. So thank you. Love them. For me, love sitting still. And less to say love sitting still, more to say I'm real good at it. If somebody tells me to wait, I'll park myself. I'll go into stasis. I'll go into standby. I won't fidget. I will sit quietly. I will read on my phone. I will read a book. I will sit and just log off, like mentally. Partly because of the aforementioned childhood of many, many doctor's appointments between orthodontist and diabetes. I was having appointments, baby. I was in the waiting room. I was always in that waiting room. That was a huge part of my childhood. And when it wasn't in the waiting room, I was just like at home, ill, not in school, probably watching David Attenborough. And yeah, so my love of sitting still, like that's also probably in part due to a bit of that good old mental illness, but who's to say? And the last line, bored of playing fair, bored of cheating, I don't actually know where that came from. There's a list of things to be bored of. It's a half rhyme with leave me, cheating. It is giving, in retrospect, it is giving Bond villain. And I don't know where that came from. Anyway. So that verse, it first appears in an untitled note in my phone, written at 4 a.m. I was tracking it down because I was like, where was my headspace at when I wrote this? And I can tell you, it came from this poem here. I'm terrified of more time. I don't want to watch it leave me. God, if I'm bored, I'll just die. Bored of playing fair, bored of cheating. Don't make me plan this all ahead. I don't want to contemplate you. Hearing what I never said. I had this frozen just to place you. I woke up from a dream, and all I knew was what you needed to hear. There was a message imparted to me from the village. It's kind of frenetic. Pieces of it stand out to me as quite cool. Obviously, I reused that first verse. I would have cherry-picked it for building these lyrics. The second one is perhaps on being misunderstood, being anxious. And that last one, I woke up from a dream. All I knew was what you wanted to hear. There was a message imparted to me from the village. Now, it's interesting that I included this in some lyrics in 2024 because this comes from a previous experience, in fact, a dream that I had many years ago. And the fact that this was written at 4 a.m. makes me think I had this dream again then. I do have it now and again. So this dream is that I'm in a desert basin and I'm looking up at a castle. There's a large sandstone structure looming. Clearly once this ornate castle worn brutalist by time and weather. And a lioness and her 3 daughters have claimed this castle as their home. And when I enter these ruins, I immediately forget how it is that I've entered them from the basin, because it's a dream. And this lioness looks at me, and I'm imparted with this divine knowledge. And it's like this vision, and my reaction is, I need to tell the villagers, because when you stand in this castle and you look down over the desert, you can see that there's a village. And I know that I've come from the village, but I know that I'm not a villager. I start running, and then I just wake up. I wake up in my bed, afraid that now this message will not be carried. And I think they need to know. And whatever it is, it just drifts away. And I woke up genuinely thinking, like, I've got to tell people. I've got to tell people this. It changes everything. It's very important. Perhaps it impacts their safety. And I go from having this crazy knowledge of what needs to be done to waking up and just being like, okay, time to eat a bagel, I guess. Well, this is her. This is the lioness. This is actually from BBC Planet Earth 2. Anyway, what else did I do that day? So that verse was written at 4 a.m. after this crazy dream that I've had. And I wanted to do some detective work. So I looked in my photo reel to be like, what happened in this day that I had started waking up, typing away this poem, back to sleep, wake up, what's going on? Quite a lot, actually. It was a really busy day. So I went shopping for a doll because I needed to make her headless. And I found one for 50p in a charity shop right by my house. And she was naked, but she was clean. So I took her home and I sorted out her horrible, horrible hair with love and patience and some boiling hot water. I phoned several fishmongers, and then I ordered several crabs and crab claws online for next day delivery because the fishmongers didn't have any. And then I made that little doll a dress out of some scrap fabric because she was naked, and that made me sad. Then I wrapped a full bag of Christmas presents. And I had band practice, and we filmed a cover, something by Hamish Hawke and something by Everything Everything. I don't know if the Everything Everything one got posted, but nobody cared about the Hamish Hawke one. Hmm. The next day, I photographed the cover for our single Culture Cannibal, which was our first ever single. So here's me with the doll out of scrap fabric, and then there's the bag of Christmas presents because I had a picture of that. That's the cover. And then boom, Culture Cannibal the next day. So these thoughts were all swirling in the thinking. They're all present. And I still have that doll. She is actually under my kitchen sink in a jar. So next is this love won't stay together. I'm under the knife, under the weather. I had the next line. I needed a rhyme. So I had the line, I'm under the knife, under the weather first. But the pre-chorus, it really elevates the drama. I'm mentioning love. It's the concept of a situation. Now I've entered a breakup into the narrative of the song. You may ask, what love? Why must it fall apart? What's happening? Like, it's a classic people in love thing, is that then they're not in love, or so I've heard. It rhymed. It sat really nicely, and it shaped the rest of the song. And the under the knife, under the weather, that's something I said to my dad when I had my last surgery, which was a septorhinoplasty. I had loads of painkillers in me. He'd said something like, "Oh, whilst you're still feeling under the weather," and I was like, "Well, I was just under the knife." Ayy. And I just thought they're two completely separate phrases, but it's really funny to like combine them. Because you think if you're like, "Oh, you're under the weather," you kind of think of these big dark grey storm clouds looming, and obviously you're literally under a knife on the surgeon's cable. But the combination made me think of this storm cloud that's like raining knives. So yeah, I wrote it down because I thought it's that. And I thought I can use that, but it does sound way deeper in this context. It sounds deeper than its sort of pun origins, but I like it that way. Anyway, now my arms can't open to you, catch up in your sleep and win, no matter how I beg them to, the tide of the evening's in. Now this is the chorus, and it was written in a different order. It was 2 lines, and I swapped them up so that the shape scanned better. But these were 2 separately written lines that I had. And the chorus then has the reason why the love can't stay together, because my arms can't open to you no matter how I beg them to. And oh, the catch up in your sleep and win. That is a direct dig at the lack of work ethic that some people have. I remember once I was ranting to a bandmate and I was just like, oh, the guy, he can't expect to do nothing and what, just like catch up to us in his sleep. Um, like, then I was just like, oh, well, that works as a pun because it's also catching up. You catch up on sleep, but you can't catch up in your sleep. If you get me? So it's another sort of squishing, reimagining of phrases. Now, no matter how I beg them to, the idea of my arms can't open to you no matter how I beg them to, that's partly an intimacy thing, but also partly speaking to like anybody who's had experiences with disability or being less able or being healing from any experience, you'll understand that sometimes we're just you wish so much you could physically do something and you literally just can't. Like I will sit there and I will beg my blood sugar to come back up when I've got a low blood sugar, and I will beg my blood sugar to come back down when I've got a high blood sugar. Now, the tide of the evening being in, I was visualizing the sunset like a wave. The evening draws in, then it's a literal tide. In the evening drawing in, like a tide coming in and a tide coming out. I'm thinking of the cycle of day and night. So this is the original layout of the phrasing. My arms can't open to you no matter how I beg them to. Catch up in your sleep and win. The tide of the evening's in. And that really does summarize my experience as an asexual, which kind of sucks. But the feeling of being really locked out of something that we're taught from quite a young age is a fundamental human experience. It's like supposed to be innate. So when it's not, like, what are you? What do you do with that? But I also think that it speaks to many people experience relationship breakdowns and the feeling of like, I wish I could still be in love with you, but I'm just not. There's not something you can control. You fall in and therefore out of love. And dating's hard. I know that much and I barely do it. But it's also the notion of futility about your situations and about your feelings. You can't control these things. So the first time I used that phrasing in anything, it was last edited at 8 p.m., so just after dinner. I don't know when it was written. I don't think I was going to be writing this at the dinner table. So misfortune like strawberry seeds, say it all but won't put your hands in the dirt. Maybe my actions can't address your needs, but tell me whatever good were my words. Watch how to listen to me. Are you now a child? 2 years away and my arms can't open to you, not in the way you cry for them to. You think I won't leave you here alone? You think I won't leave you here alone? So the day before on my camera reel, I have a picture of my elderly cat. And the day after on my camera reel, I have a picture of some mugs in a charity shop that I was sending to my flatmate because we have some mugs in that style. And I was asking if we wanted some more mugs like that. As you can see, my detective work yielded few results. But the lyric, watch how you listen to me, nearly exactly a year later, I took that and I used it in Mildew because we say, watch how you listen, watch how I speak, can't get out of bed to where I should be. So that yielded 2 lines that I have used. Anyway, when you reach someone else you want to know, you have to know, to change the pace and to sync up to me. And I want us to choose the same distance. Now, this verse was written in the studio because we needed more words. I had 3 months to write a second verse, and I didn't until about half an hour before I then had to sing them because I'm smart. But I did want to move the plot into themes of missing connections, personal connections, Bluetooth device connected, sync up data, syncing up people, like the idea of sharing a rhythm. And it's about how in relationships there's this constant choice. I want us to choose the same distance. You choose constantly to be on the same page as the person you're in a relationship with. And that's an active choice. And you choose to face things as a team. And I wanted to have it as, I want us to choose this same distance as if there's a specific distance, but the sibilance would have been too much in the lyrics. So it's the same distance. But a relationship, it can be, is it a sprint or is it a marathon? You gotta choose the same pace to go at. So you're both always together. I'm terrified of this life. I don't want to watch it leave me, but I'm too scared to choose right, scared of staying still, scared of leaving. Back to fear of death, back to having the morbs. There's also thinking about a fear of commitment. Now, you can be afraid to commit to relationships, but to anything in life, you can be afraid to commit to things. So, a fear of committing to any one path and choice paralysis. And in all aspects of life, this is something that can limit you greatly because you actually do have to commit to things when you do them. But also, you just got to do them. So, this is back to the fear of like, well, what if whatever I'm doing at this current moment is incorrect? And there's no right answer. It's a disgusting feeling. Actually, everything is the wrong choice all the time, but everything is the right choice all the time. You actually just have to do things. Leads to a lot of procrastination. In the course of writing this slide, I hoovered my living room and did 3 levels of pen brush. Anyway, then things repeat. It's done. You can just sit back and enjoy the pre-chorus and the chorus again. And it sails you to the end of the song melodically. So in conclusion about the themes of the lyrics in this song, it's very sad when relationships don't go the way that you want them to. It's not very fun at all to feel like you are other and to yearn to belong. I have had therapy before. I will have it again. That is a threat. My goal is to have this song play when there is a breakup or a betrayal on Love Island. It is probably not healthy to be living one life, yet constantly mourning hypothetical potential lives running parallel to your own. Don't imagine what may have happened. Do what needs to be done, you know? And lastly, I often think on the divine purpose and knowledge that Dream Lioness bestowed upon me. And I wonder if I'll ever feel such conviction again in this waking world. I almost hope not. But I do hope the villagers are okay. And if anybody has this dream and sees this lioness and knows this desert basin and has ever been there or has seen this castle, do reach out to me because I need to know if the villagers are okay. Thank you.